What's going on, everyone? We have an exciting one today, and that is KAZUDA Red, a list that I have been really wanting to play, but every single time I'm like, oh, maybe I should play some KAZUDA today, I just think about JANGO. Now that JANGO is gone, I am really excited to see what we're able to do with this extremely aggressive KAZUDA list with a little bit of combo potential. Definitely a lot of things going for him, and I cannot wait to go ahead and actually start playing some games. Before we actually dive into the list and get some games going, I want to say a big thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. Thank you for supporting the channel, and also I have a TCG player link in the description down below. But let's dive into KAZUDA and talk about what this guy is doing. So this list has been extremely quick. The whole idea behind KAZUDA is that you get to take advantage of some really awesome units that have a little bit of a downside. Millennium Falcon, get to immediately get in damage. Fireball, get to ambush, but it's got that downside of having to actually damage itself. But more importantly than that, we have Heroic Sacrifice and Trench Run. Last time I ran the KAZUDA Red list, we were running a few copies of each of these, but not the full playset. Honestly, they're one of the best cards in the deck because when you go ahead and use KAZUDA's action, it makes it so that you're not going to get that ability. So for example, when this unit deals combat damage, defeat it, or on attack, you're not going to deal any damage to yourself. Instead, you're just going to get the +2/+0 or the +4/+0, and Heroic Sacrifice is just draw a card. That is incredibly strong. So that kind of refills our hand a little bit, but also just gets in a ton of damage. Alongside all of our fighters, which all of our turn one plays are fighters, we've got Surprise Strike to pump in more damage. We've got Sneak Attack to maybe get some immediately readied up damage alongside Cassian. We've got BB-8 to ready up some units such as the Black One or the Fireball or KAZUDA himself. And then we have our other suite of cards besides the Stolen ET Hauler and Millennium Falcon, which are just strong units with KAZUDA. We've got They Hate That Ship to create a bunch of TIE Fighter tokens for your opponent, and then go ahead and play a vehicle unit from your hand. That's pretty expensive, but with a 3 resource discount. So essentially you get 2 resources off any space vehicle that we have. Tactical Heavy Bomber can be played on turn 2. This card is amazing with things like Surprise Strike and Heroic Sacrifice. The Corporate Light Cruiser, this one's also pretty good. For 4 resources, we get a 5/6 Ambusher that comes down. Pretty sweet as well. Home One, this is really crazy because this is the same cost as Corporate Light Cruiser. It literally, assuming your opponent has any space, you're able to play this and then just get down a massive ambusher, slap KAZUDA on it, and suddenly your opponent's got a lot to deal with. Really exciting list and a lot of fun. Cannot wait to dive in and cannot wait to rush people down. Unfortunately, we don't have to deal with JANGO anymore, which was by far its worst matchup. Like by far its worst matchup. So let's play some games and see what we can do. Piet Green. Nice one. All right. Opponents gets to go first. We're going to see what we can get. Hopefully we draw pretty decently here. Piet could definitely do some work up against us if they've got some space, ways to deal with some space units. We got Tactical Heavy Bomber, BB-8. I think we can mulligan this one. We have the units, but not the events to really back it up and close out the game. This is a much more interesting hand. I'm going to resource the Home One, and I will resource this Surprise Strike over the BB-8, since BB-8 can immediately ready up that Black One. Colonel Yularen comes down. Not a bad card. We're going to go with the Black One. We're going to pass here. We got a Trench Run and a Corporate Light Cruiser. I think we resource the Corporate Light Cruiser. We could draw They Hate That Ship, but we would need them or we would need to draw that card specifically in order for us to even do anything. Wow. Okay. So they're going to give us an upgrade here. Interesting. I suppose we will just go ahead and attack. Get a little +1. They're going to attack our Tarkin Town. We're going to go ahead and play the Stolen AT Hauler. We'll remove the abilities pass. Doesn't really matter, to be honest. We've got a Han Solo, which isn't too bad. We've got Tactical Heavy Bomber, which I don't think I want to have. Let's see what they've got. Super Laser Technician, huh? This has been a very odd situation for us. Let's go ahead and remove the abilities off the Stolen AT Hauler, and I think we go Heroic Sacrifice in for 6. And then what I want to do is actually go ahead and deploy KAZUDA on the ground. And then go ahead and attack in, remove the abilities. And then we can go ahead and deploy this guy as a pilot. And then we can go trench run on this guy to attack in for 8. Whew. Okay, that was pretty sick. That was a lot of damage. Our opponent kind of in the struggle bus territory, to be honest. Let's see what they've got. Admiral Piet comes down. They can deploy 6-drop. Gladiator Star Destroyer. Okay, it's not fantastic. We get to go ahead and attack it. We can actually use the fireball plus readying up this guy multiple times. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to attack into the base, remove the abilities on the stolen AT hauler. And what we're going to do is fireball, hit into it, and then use the Tarkin Town plus the fireball to go ahead and get rid of that Gladiator Star Destroyer, and then ready up the BB-8, which is going to be absolutely amazing. Because we're going to be able to put this on the stolen AT hauler, ready up this. So we're going to be able to get in for 5 plus 5 plus 5. So a total of 15 damage. That should be the end of the game. Fireball plus Tarkin Town really coming in clutch here. They're going to claim the initiative. Okay, so we're going to attack with Black 1. We're going to go ahead and play this as a pilot on this. We'll pay 2 resources, ready up this, attack in for 5, attack in for 5, and that's GG. All right, pretty sweet and quick game here on turn 4, just dealing 33 damage. I mean, that is pretty incredible. Not too bad. All right, into our next matchup, probably the most difficult matchup that we will fight, period, and that is Quinlan. A little bit nervous about this one. We got Mercenary Gunship into Stolen AT Hauler. I don't know if we care about they hate that ship, to be honest. The problem with that is that they can use the 2 units to kill off my Tactical Heavy Bomber. They're going to pass. I suppose we'll play the Mercenary Gunship. They can play their 2-drop. It's fine. I gave them the initiative. They can go to play the L3. They can go to Tarkin Town it away. I think that honestly isn't too bad for us. We're going to go claim initiative. They Tarkin Town. Sure. Pretty straightforward. I mean, Quinlan stuff, right? Commandeer could be okay. Corporate Light Cruiser, probably the resource here. Let's just go Stolen AT Hauler and then see what my opponent has. This is obviously not a great start for us. A shielded unit, very, very good. Tarkin Town, probably not going to do a whole lot up against those shielded units. They got Ezra. Again, very scary considering that we can remove the ability, so it doesn't matter. They don't have anything to actually deal with our units. They have force throw potential next turn, which is very scary. Heroic Sacrifice, Sneak Attack. Okay, Sneak Attack is actually pretty interesting. Let's go ahead and make this have no abilities. We'll attack in for 6 here. Get in for 6 damage. And then next turn, what we could do is, well, we could fireball this turn. Okay, they're going to attack in for 3. Let's see what they're going to grab. Podammer, they're going to discard that. Sure. Let's go ahead and deploy fireball. And then I think we're just going to attack into base with KAZUDA. And then try to go for the sneak attack tactical heavy bomber, like absolute smackdown. Millennium Falcon, huh? Okay, let's deploy as a unit. They may be targeting the... I don't know. They won't be able to play the Stolen AT Hauler should they kill it with the Millennium Falcon. We will attack in, remove abilities. Okay, they're going to trade off. Sure, we're going to claim initiative. Ooh, another tactical heavy bomber, huh? Probably not what I want. Let's see. I think I'll resource one of the tactical heavy bombers, actually. Let's go ahead and get an attack with KAZUDA here. Getting rid of the fireball's ability here. We can go with Heroic Sacrifice, which I think is what I want to do. Ooh, another sneak attack. It's not really what I want to be seeing. We can't sneak attack that tactical heavy bomber out. We can commandeer something, but I think we're really in a struggle mode right now. Plo Koon gonna kill KAZUDA. Sure, we're gonna go sneak attack tactical heavy bomber. They're gonna get in a bunch of damage. They're gonna get in 8 damage, which is kind of obnoxious. Bamboozle, huh? Wow, what a hand. Our opponent just had an insane hand for us. They're going to get in a bunch of damage. We're going to claim initiative, and I think that's going to be pretty much game. There isn't really much that we can do. Yep, GG. We're looking for like a trench run, heroic sacrifice, sneak attack with a unit type of combination, and we just didn't quite get there. Quinlan, solid deck. Also, just playing their standard curve, us kind of missing a little bit there. We would have preferred, instead of like multiple tactical heavy bombers, just some more events to get in more damage with like KAZUDA. That would have been the goal. Not actually that far off. We were only about 5 points of damage, which is a lot, but that can change with our event. So pretty good game. All right, next up we've got Yoda Green. We'll start with the initiative here. Not a bad hand. We got the Interceptor, we got the Stolen ET Hauler. I mean, I would love to have some events, but I think we could reasonably keep this hand and then hope for some events. We got a pretty nice curve out hand, which I don't mind at all. I'll probably start with the Fireball. It is a 3/3 space unit, just straight up. I'm not really sure what to expect with the Yoda Green. It can kind of go a lot of different directions. I've seen a little bit more of a unit-based mid-range strategy, and I've also seen more controlling strategies. But we'll see. We're going to resource both of the Cassians here. Get some more smuggle options into the resource pile. Let's go with Fireball. No reason to pass and hope they play an arc. Like, if I pass here, they're absolutely taking initiative, and that's bad for us. It's very bad for us. Okay, opponent. It's turn 1. There's not too many things you can do. Regional Governor, what are you going to name? Millennium Falcon? It's probably not a bad name. Yep, Millennium Falcon is the name. Let's go ahead and put the KAZUDA ability on the Fireball, and then go ahead and claim initiative. We got a Mercenary Gunship as the draw. Probably worse than the Anakin's Interceptor. Not at all what I wanted to see, realistically. Not at all what I wanted to see. Let's attack it with the Fireball. We're going to play the Stolen AT Hauler. Regional Governor, not really that scary at all. Let's go Stolen AT Hauler. We'll go ahead and, remove the Fireball's abilities, and then take initiative, unless they take initiative. Okay, they don't, so we're just going to go ahead and claim initiative. Trench runs, sneak attacks, more units. This is like not at all what I wanted to see, to be honest. Like, it's kind of crazy. We have so many events in our deck. What is going on, guys? What is going on? Okay. This is kind of sad to see. So opponent could have like a takedown or something. That would be real dangerous for us. So I think what we're forced to do is use KAZUDA's ability on the Stolen AT Hauler, so they can't just kill it and then steal it and then kill my Fireball. If that does happen, the game is basically over. So I think what we'll do is we will just go ahead and remove that ability. And this is a situation where we're kind of just playing around potential things that our opponent could have. I have no idea if they're playing takedowns or, whatever. What's the new card that defeats the vehicle? Oh my gosh, I forget the name. Home one is the play. Okay. It's not too bad for them. They're going to not bounce the Regional Governor. Let's go A-Wing and Anakin's Interceptor here. And I think what we do is just deploy KAZUDA onto the Bright Hope. I mean, the other option is I could use the Tarkin Town and then get in for 2 extra damage, but then I lose out another damage. So I can deploy KAZUDA, kill the Bright Hope. I can deploy KAZUDA, attack, or pilot KAZUDA, kill the Bright Hope. Deploy KAZUDA, attack, get in 2 damage, and then use Fireball plus Tarkin now to get rid of Bright Hope, which I think is probably the thing I want to do more. So let's go Tarkin Town. Let's deploy as a unit. Go Anakin's Interceptor, attack in. We will remove those abilities, and then we will pass. Okay, Han isn't too bad. Again, No events. We've drawn no heroic sacrifice, no surprise strike, no trench run, not even like a they hate that ship or a sneak attack, which would be really nice. So the fact that we've drawn none of those is really unfortunate here. Could definitely go with a Cassian deploy here. That's not too bad of a play. The other problem with this is that if they kill KAZUDA, then they basically kill off Fireball. But if they also kill off Stolen ET Hauler, they kill off a bunch of my units as well. So it's really, really just... We're open to a lot of things. We have a really nice board state right now, but we don't have ways to really push in a ton of damage. We have to have all these units really survive. So now they're going to go blue leader, and this is kind of what I was afraid of, is what they're going to do is kill Stolen ET Hauler and then be able to replay it. It is going to be kind of rough. Kind of rough. Or maybe they're going to kill KAZUDA. Oh. Oh? I'm very surprised as to how that went down. But okay. Let's go ahead and get an attack with KAZUDA and remove some abilities over here. I would have expected them to pay full cost, kill the Stolen AT Hauler, but maybe they have something else up their sleeve for 3 resources. Like maybe they have a resupply to deploy Yoda and kill something. Like that would definitely be, or rather, that would definitely make a good amount of sense. Let's go ahead and get in an attack with the Stolen AT Hauler. That's going to be 4 damage. There's the resupply. Let's get in for 3. There's Yoda. Destroy the You're My Only Hope. Kill off your AT Hauler. So that's exactly what I thought. They have the double resupply. Resupply is obviously real good here. Let's go ahead and get in for 2. So we have the Tactical Heavy Bomber. Again, we really need to be drawing events. Really need to be drawing events. The fact that we haven't drawn events at this or at any point in this game, like we've drawn 12 cards into them events, is really, really rough for us. Tactical Heavy Bomber can push in a ton of damage though. So we're just going to go ahead and claim initiative here. They're going to go ahead and take out my unit. Ooh, sneak attack, huh? I mean, sneak attack can be okay, but not exactly what I want to be seeing. Let's resource one of these Hans since they're unique. And I could deploy Han, kill a regional governor. That doesn't seem that fantastic either, however. So I think what we'll do is we kind of have to play for the best outcome here, which means we kind of just have to play like our opponent doesn't really have it much since we've drawn like none of our events. So we will just start off with a Fireball attack into the base. They'll attack it with Blue Leader, probably with the Anakin's Interceptor. Again, we just have to play with information that we see on the board. And then we will Han our Tactical Heavy Bomber into their base. Ooh, Bright Hope is not what we wanted to see at all. What a hand from our opponent. Double Bright Hope, double resupply. Really strong hand from our opponent. Let's go ahead and play Han with piloting. We will attack into the Bright Hope and let our opponent divvy up the indirect damage how they deem fit. Of course, this is a situation where, I mean, I could have gone with Cassian, but Cassian doesn't really do a whole lot on this board. I'd rather just pump up my Tactical Heavy Bomber for the potential to like get a surprise strike and then attack in for 8 plus another 8 indirect damage. Like that's really what we want to be doing. Okay. They're going to take 2 on Yoda, 1 on Blue Leader, probably because they're going to trade in with Anakin's Interceptor here. And then they got rid of their... Oh. Okay. We're going to get in for 2. I'm going to attack the Tactical Heavy Bomber. What do they have? Takedown. Okay. I mean, obviously, takedown's great. They're going to get in for 4. Heal 2. Millennium Falcon. Okay, now we're talking. Now we're talking. Home 1 going to be the resource here. That changes things. Let's put it on the Fireball. Let's get in for 7 here. That was a nice chunk. Millennium Falcon coming down is going to be pretty nice as well. We also have the Cassian potential. They're going to have something pretty good here. The Restore 2 from Yoda really is coming handy. But that Trench Run was a really nice draw. You can kind of see how the game shifts really drastically when we draw these kinds of events. Let's see what my opponent has, though. Opponent's really thinking about what to do here. They've got a Eager Escort Fighter. Wow. Did not expect that, to be honest. Let's go with the Cassian. It's going to be more resources. Heroic Sacrifice in the top into the smuggle piles, obviously unfortunate. But Cassian coming in just to get in some extra damage. It's the same play as the Millennium Falcon, essentially. We're going to get in for 3 here. Any event, assuming our opponent has another play, would win the game. Like any damaging event. Heroic Sacrifice, Surprise Strike, Trench Run, all of which would do it. Fortunately, we smuggled a Heroic Sacrifice into our resource pile. We still have 10 copies of those cards, though. There's Heroic Sacrifice, and there's a BB-8. Very solid. It's resource the sneak attack, actually. We'll see what my opponent has on 10 resources. Eager Escort Fighter. Opponents play. They've got the deck for us, right? Double ambush space units, double space sentinels, takedown. They had a really nice hand to deal with some of the stuff that we got going on. But what do they have? U-wing reinforcement. Okay, they could grab Eager Escort Fighter. They could grab a whole smattering of different things, but it doesn't quite save them. It doesn't quite save them. They need to deal with both units here. Or at least stall both units. Deal with one, stall the other. Some combination of those things. Come on, opponent. This game is taking a long time. Okay, there's an Eager Escort Fighter. All right, well, that isn't quite enough. They got the Regional Governor. And that's going to be GG. Boom. Heroic Sacrifice in and GG. What do we draw? Corporate Light Cruiser. Not bad. Not a bad game. All right, we've got Double Green Vader up next. It's an okay hand. I think we can mulligan into something a little bit better. Of course, we draw the double home 1 hand. I mean, double home 1 can be okay. I don't know. I don't think the home 1s are going to be very good here in this situation. Clone Pilot is the turn 1 play. Okay, I'm not exactly afraid of that one. I'm going to be honest. Let's go ahead and pass. We've got double Han as the draw. Okay, let's resource one of those. What are you going to be doing, opponent? What are you going to be doing with Double Green Vader? They're going to be playing out the Victor Leader. I think I just used Target Town to finish off the Victor Leader. So we'll attack it. We'll play the Cassian. No extra value. Target Town away. The Victor Leader. Play a Cassian. And then we will pass. ECL can be very scary for sure. Mercenary Gunship and Fireball. Okay, I like those cards. I think I'll resource a Han. I think Commandeer will come in handy here based on what my opponent's playing, right? Darth Vader. Kijimi Patrollers. Okay. Let's go ahead and get in some damage, huh? Let's go get some damage in. Hardpoint Heavy Blaster. Wow. Not expecting that, to be honest. I think I'll just trade Fireball for it. I don't even know, guys. I don't even know. All right, let's deploy the Mercenary Gunship. Let's go ahead and deploy this as a unit. Attack the base. Remove some abilities. Pass. That's right. Let's go to this Interceptor. hard point heavy blaster, huh? Okay, they're gonna trade off here. Let's go ahead and get an attack here to remove that ability on the mercenary gunship. And we'll see what we do next. Commandeer could come into play. They've got the Outland TIE Vanguard. I mean, so I can fireball, no ambush, I suppose. Let's just surprise strike, fireball, no ambush. Get in for 3. And what is our opponent going to do? They can attack KAZUDA. I think we do play fireball here. Oh, I don't think they intended to use Darth Vader, but they did. Even if they hadn't, what would have happened? I mean, they could have an overwhelming barrage, which would be pretty good. Tactical heavy bomber, not exactly what I would like to see. So I think here we just try to push as much damage as possible. So we start with the mercenary gunship attack in for 3, and now Cassian and Fireball are both lethal. And they don't really have any other answer, so I suppose that's going to be GG. Kind of a close game. I mean, kind of not a close game is what I should say. All right, onto exciting games up against Thrawn. We got the double trench run, heroic sacrifice. They hate that ship. Hand. Probably going to be a mulligan there. Heroic sacrifice. We've got home 1. I mean, this is an okay hand. I think I would actually just resource the A-wing and the home 1 in this spot and just go with the black 1 into mercenary gunship. Maybe I go mercenary gunship here, actually. Double Vanguard infantry. That can get very scary very quickly. Ooh, they hate that ship. Plus tactical heavy bomber isn't too bad at all. Although, this is tricky. Maybe it's the resource if they hate that ship. I think I want to go with the most aggressive plan, which is just get in for 5 and then make my opponent do something. Because if I go with they hate that ship, they're going to get 2 readied up units in space to kill my mercenary gunship and then potentially have something to do to really pump them up. Because if these guys die, they give 2 experience over to something, which is kind of insane. Okay, they're going to attack Tarkin Town here. Sure. Get in some damage. Sneak attack, very solid. BB-8, also very solid. I actually don't know if the tactical heavy bomber is what I want anymore. Let's go ahead and make the mercenary gunship not have any abilities, and we will just go ahead and get in with a trench run for 7. And then what do we want to do? There's a Sentinel on the ground, Academy graduate. But it's got 4 resources. They can ECL something out to kill off the black 1. If they do that, I'll be pretty sad, I suppose, because we can't deploy KAZUDA on the ground. Because if we do that, they just attack into the KAZUDA and get 2 experience on their Academy graduate, and then it's like impossible to get through it. Cobb Vanth. Okay. Let's deploy as a pilot onto black 1. We will get in for 6. We do not control Poe Dameron, so we cannot deal 1 damage to a unit. Then we will go BB-8 as a pilot. Pay 2 resources, ready up the black 1, get in for another 6. And then pass. Not bad. Not bad at all. That's a lot of damage, guys. That is a lot of damage. Our opponent kind of is doing a whole lot of nothing over there. And it doesn't matter if they can steal it. We could have always stolen it back. But that's going to be GG. Thrawn, guys. Thrawn. All right, into our next hand, and we're going to go to resource one of these BB-8s and the home 1 up against Phasma Green. We'll see if they've got the silencer on turn 1. Let's see if they got the Pride. We're going to go with the Fireball. Pride is pretty insanely good if you have the initiative in this deck. So good stuff. Now they have to decide if they want to use the Phasma ability. They don't, which is unfortunate that is the choice that they have to make. We're going to go Sneak Attack as the resource. Yeah, probably. I don't think we can really afford to be playing Sneak Attack here. They're going to attack in for 2. Sure, we can take... I mean, usually they don't have things that just deal random damage. I think it's pretty safe just to go with the take 2 on the Fireball plan. It is a little bit risky because KAZUDA prevents the last one damage to be dealt. So let's go with Cassian on the ground. They're going to play another First Order Stormtrooper. My gosh, is that an extremely aggressive situation to find ourselves up against. Commandeer, I think what we'll do is just make sure the Fireball doesn't have any abilities, and then we'll just kill off General Pride. Opponent's going to have a lot of units here. I'm a little bit worried about this. We don't have enough events here to really shift the game in our favor. Outflank. Well, that's not something I expected, to be honest. Okay, not too bad. Let's go Millennium Falcon. Let's go with a deploy as pilot onto the Millennium Falcon. Let's go with the Trench Run in with the Fireball, because we've already removed the abilities. We'll go in with an attack here, remove the abilities yet again. And then we will pass. Sneak Attack, Cassian into the resource pile. I like BB-8 here. Mercenary Gunship could be okay. Phasma can't be ECL'd out. We're in a pretty good spot. Overwhelming Barrage. They can knock out Fireball, deal some damage to the Millennium Falcon. It's not quite good enough, to be honest, because we will get in for 6 here. And then the Cassian deploy does work, or the Sneak Attack Mercenary Gunship, either one. Okay, we'll just go with the Cassian, and that's going to be GG. We could always have just taken initiative. GG. Phasma down. All right, into our last game, we've got Vader 1 blue. I'm a little bit worried about this one. We're probably up against a little bit of a controlling match. So let's see what we can do. Not a bad hand, but I think we have to go a little bit differently in terms of what our hand actually provides. This is something more of what I was thinking of. Something like a Mercenary Gunship into, an immediately readied up Millennium Falcon is kind of where I want to be. Something that's going to immediately push in some damage is really nice. Fireball, ET Hauler. Cassian is the resource? Yeah, probably. Let's go with the attack with Mercenary Gunship here. Millennium Falcon's going to push in another 3 points of damage, which is really nice. They're going to use Dr. Pershing to draw a card. Sure, we're going to go Millennium Falcon. Usually for 3 resources, they'll have like Merciless Contest, Power of the Dark Side, that type of stuff. Open Fire. Well, that's a little bit unfortunate. Open Fire is certainly the best card they could have had in that spot. Definitely makes our life a lot harder. Let's go Corporate Light Cruiser as the resource here. Let's go ahead and make it so that the Mercenary Gunship doesn't die when we Heroic Sacrifice. We draw a Sneak Attack. Not at all what we wanted to see. We're really looking for a Millennium Falcon, to be honest. They've got a perilous position. Sure. Let's go with the Stolen AT Hauler. They're going to use Dr. Pershing. We get to Tarkin Town away, Dr. Pershing. We're going to deploy KAZUDA anyways. There's no real reason to wait, right? Because the previous turn, we were able to have the initiative, which is really nice, but we're not going to have the initiative with the KAZUDA deploy here, which we are going to be going with here. Cannot put him on the Stolen ET Hauler simply because if we do, and they have like a nightmare scenario of Power of the Dark Side, game's over. I would say we're not in a very winning position at the current moment. Chilton. That's a lot of units, huh? Onyx Squadron Brute. Sure. I mean, do I even care? I think we go Fireball. And I think we just sacrifice KAZUDA into Chilton. So what this has done is basically use up a card to avoid 2 damage because they're putting a Sentinel in the ground, right? They're not going to have a way to deal with the other cards. They have Super Laser Blast, Rival's Fall, Onyx Squadron Brute, and Avenger, which means they need to draw something to deal with our cards right now. So we're actually in a pretty good spot. They need to draw out of what they've got. Chilton plus those 4 cards does not do anything up against us, really. Yes, they can deal damage to the Stolen ET Hauler, which does put it in range of open fire, which isn't too bad for them, but that's totally fine. We're only doing this so that we can use the Heroic Sacrifice here on the Heroic or the Stolen ET Hauler and hope to draw a 2-drop. Although BB-8 is okay, and I will go ahead and put BB-8 as a pilot onto the Stolen AT Hauler to put it out of open fire range, and then we'll pass. Another Trench Run, Corporate Light Cruiser. I think in this spot we will resource one of the Trench Runs because we can sneak attack out the Corporate Light Cruiser. So we'll see what they draw. They have 2 cards. They have to draw something good. Of course, they've got the Rival's Fall, which they did have. So I don't know what I was thinking for a second there. Let's see here. Let's go with Fireball, Trench Run in for 7. And we'll see if they decide to play out this Stolen AT Hauler. I don't know why I thought there was no Rival's Fall in their hand. That was just silly. Like, I knew they had Rival's Fall. I said it like 4 times, guys. I said it like 4 times. Let's see if they decide to play out the Stolen AT Hauler. I think if I was them, I would do that first. Yep. And now we can go sneak attack, Corporate Light Cruiser, ambush the Stolen AT Hauler, because then we're going to be able to play it from our resource pile for free. And then they don't have Super Laser Blast next turn. So let's see what we get. Corporate Light Cruiser Part 2. That's not too bad. I mean, our hand's not too bad. We have a lot of damage on board right now. We'll see what my opponent's got. End up drawing Power of the Dark Side. Sure, we'll defeat the Fireball, and then we'll get in for 7. I could have played the Corporate Light Cruiser, but they have Super Laser Blast. Just remember that. They have Super Laser Blast. Millennium Falcons are amazing. They're going to just play a unit. We're going to claim initiative. Any Heroic Sacrifice, Surprise Strike, anything like that. Really just winning. Just winning. Han Solo, also another one that would just win. They're going to be able to deploy, get in. It is all or nothing, though. Like, if we don't get it now, the game is over. Han, Surprise Strike, Commandeer. That's not quite. That's not quite there. We were 1 point of damage short. 1 point of damage short. Very close game. Very close game. That was a sweet game. I thought we were gonna get there. I think if I put the BB-8 on the other unit, that would have been the difference maker, because I knew they had Rival's Fall. I said it like 4 times, but for some reason my brain just was like, oh yeah, they can't kill my Stolen AT Hauler, but they'd have to draw like a removal. And one of the ways we could play around it is like open fire. Like, open fire is one of the cards that we can put it out of range of. But if I just put BB-8 on the other unit, they probably still would have gone with a Stolen AT Hauler, since they could replay that. We could have gotten in for 4 points of damage. That would have been the 1 point of damage difference. That literally would have been the 1 damage difference that we needed. And I did not do that. So that's my fault. We probably could have won that game had I done that, because we knew what their hand was, right? Like, we just knew exactly what they were going to be playing. So let's talk about KAZUDA. All right, so what did we learn with KAZUDA? Well, it was a pretty fun list. There are definitely some poor matchups for it still, and I don't know if it's truly an insane deck list with the They Hate That ship, to be honest. I've played with this card a few times, and I've played without it. I wanted to play with it today because I think it's more of a fun combo potential, and there are some lists that Home 1 plus They Hate That ship or Tactical Heavy Bomber plus They Hate That ship is amazing against. But you saw a lot of the times we were resourcing that or resourcing the pieces for it. I think if you just remove this whole package, these 9 cards essentially, and then you go more into sneak attack, you go a little bit more into the potentially even more damaging events, waylays, bamboozles, some things to kind of drum up a little bit more value in the early stages of the game. Even play with Hotshot Blaster for KAZUDAs or Cassians. I think that would be a better option to go with instead of doing this. Or better yet, have a bunch of 1-drops. I think Cartel Turncoat and Wolfpack Escort are really nice options in this deck because you really want to just pump in as much damage as possible and have a bunch of fighters for Trench Run. And both those guys are fighters, which are really, really nice. So that's a consideration. R2 is also a consideration. 0-cost pilot, just pumping in more damage. But overall, I mean, you just pump in a ton of damage. Trench Run is amazing, and Heroic Sacrifice is amazing, but those only work if you actually have units on the board. So you really want to keep those around, and, well, you want immediately readied up units, which is also one of the reasons why Sneak Attack is so good in this deck, because you're able to get a surprise strike in, pardon for the, name of the card, but a surprise strike in with like a Fireball plus Trench Run for 7 damage. Or even, hey, a Fireball plus surprise strike for 6 damage, finishing out the game. It's really, really awesome. I've seen some people playing Thermal Oscillator, which I do think is amazing in a combo style deck. That's the place where you want to play it. Like, it's not an amazing card in of itself, but in terms of KAZUDA Red, with They Hate That ship, you have some potential there. But you saw how relevant Targeting Talent was in many of those games, taking out Home 1s, taking out, whatever we needed to actually push in a few important points of damage. And that's where Targeting Talent really comes in. But I'm curious to hear what you all have to say. There has been a lot of KAZUDA yellows out there, and I do think that is an amazing option since you do have like Contract Hunter, Fireball, Millennium Falcon, and then you just get to play the tempo game, which is also really good. But KAZUDA, still strong, still pretty solid, but you do got to worry a little bit. And you do got to be careful with your KAZUDA trigger, I'll say that much. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all for the next one.